From Studio A at 1 Pelosis Square in Fort Worth, Texas, this is the Grandpa and Pappy Show. Yes, indeed it is. And boy, what a way for winter to come in. It's very cold here in Cowtown, USA.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Very cold. Temperatures, well, right now is about freezing, and that's had to come up to reach that point.
I found out when I stepped out on the deck this morning where my drawers stopped and my britches began. I wasted no time getting in that warmed up truck.
26 degrees.
I heard
26 degrees, you
right
said?
now, 26
Oh, damn
here in Cowtown.
Damn it.
And we welcome you into the Grandpa and Pappy Show. If this is the first time that you've joined Pappy and me, it's a show that gives you, our viewers, an opportunity to voice your opinion on a myriad of questions that we ask on our Facebook page. And as usual, you guys have come up with some really good opinions on the topics that we're going to be talking about
As they
today.
always have, yeah.
And, of course, over the weekend, the Cowboy fans went back into mourning as they lost to the San Francisco 49ers in the first round of the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
So now they can go back to the drawing board and bring out a new chalk and see what's
Work
going to
on
be
how they're going to
different
screw it up next
year. Yeah, that's
I
exactly right.
I like that meme I saw on Facebook. Mexican word of the day, Dallas.
Yeah,
Said, this is the last game.
the last game.
They play. The last.
But we welcome you in.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Some things going on. Of course, the filibuster was voted down again last night, so we still have the filibuster in place. Thank God in heaven for that.
Yep.
And that way the Democrats cannot take control of all of the voting in our country and make it federalized. So anyway, with that being said, we ask you guys about one of the Democrats in particular who had the gumption to stand up to his party and say no to all of this, and that's Senator John Manchin of West Virginia, or Joe Manchin, I should say. And he stands up for the people, not just the party. So we ask you guys what your opinion was of an honest Democrat for a change. And we got
Is it just me, or does that sound rather oxymoronic to you?
It kind of does, doesn't it? It really does. But just like George Schultz said, it was because he sees the problem that everybody's facing. So
Getting tired of being hit upside the head with a dead fish.
Doink.
Ginger Lynch from Tyler told us, I'm sure glad that he did.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There could be all kinds of repercussions for him. Now, it wasn't just him. It was Senator Sinema of Arizona that also voted against this.
Yeah.
And both senators have said that it's because that the bills that they're bringing before the Senate to vote on is not in the best interest of the American people.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Pappy. I mean, why do you get elected? You go up to represent the people.
For the people, by the people.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly.
By the people, for the people, and any peoples that you...
Alive or dead, apparently.
Evidently, that is a correct statement. Robert Greene told us, Pappy, it is refreshing to see a politician, especially a Democrat, actually listen to what the American people are saying. We need many more of them to do the same thing.
Absolutely. And there's a few of them that did jump the fence along the way. So.
Yeah, and the American people. Now, this is just my view, Pappy.
Yeah.
The American people are smarting up. I mean, they're getting smart about what's going on in Washington, and now you've got 28 Democrats that have decided not to run in the midterm elections because they see a landslide coming.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, I believe.
It's going to happen, and I think it's a matter that everybody's known the problem. Nobody's just stood up and said enough yet.
Yeah, correct. And maybe Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema will start something.
I think they already have.
They're always saying, why can't we get bipartisan support on these bills and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, if more people would stand up for what is right for the American people and not just their party,
Bingo. Yep.
maybe they would get that bipartisan support.
Well, it would be history by now.
Well,
know?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Tony Haha said some people will stand and care about America. Then there's people of greed that don't care about freedom for all.
Ain't that the truth?
We call those people the ones that are on the payroll.
Yes. Charles Busey said, yeah, until they up the ante and buy him off,
Yep.
why the hell are the constituents of the Democrats not raising hell? That is a great question.
It is.
Are they really all sheeple and that stupid? That's kind of putting it mildly.
It
And then,
is, yeah.
and then Bob Baker came back and told Charles, I bet you can figure that out without any help.
Pretty simple. When it hits you upside the head like a cast iron skillet, yeah, it's pretty soon you ignore the ringing noise in your head.
I love Bob. He's just straight to the point.
Well, Bob's a thinker, isn't he? Rachel McKenzie said on YouTube that it took guts for Manchin and Sinema to go against their parties. They logically looked at what is in the bill and know it's not good for America.
Exactly what we were talking
Just
about
means they're
just a few seconds ago.
That just means they're not willing to get their palms greased, I guess.
Well, either that or they remembered why they were elected in the first place.
Absolutely.
You know?
I bet a wife had something to do with all that.
Probably so. Bobby Reddy told us it is the surge before the purge. And Brett Barker said at least one has some balls.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, one's male, one's female.
Got that
So that's a true statement.
Got that figured out. And Bob Baker came back and said he's probably positioning himself for a run at the White House. Mike Simmons says that's a logical statement.
Yeah.
I mean, that don't
It
make
could be. I mean,
President Manchin. That don't even sound right.
no, and
President Sinema doesn't either.
of course, our illustrious president, once he found his way to the press room yesterday, kind of reinforced the fact that he's going to run again in 2024 and that Vice President Harris is going to be his running mate.
Oh, boy.
So we shall see, but we shall see.
They must have found some new tombstones to get
Well,
them,
there you go.
Get them to vote for him.
Gary Graham told us on YouTube that more Democrats and Republicans need to listen to Americans.
Yep.
Despite the left-leaning mainstream media, people are starting to see the big picture of what's going on in Washington, and they're fed up with it. Perhaps if the Congress were open or to open their ears to what the majority of the people want, things would change for the better.
You think?
Well, what is your saying? In a perfect world.
In the perfect world, that's the way it would be, my friend. And I like what Butch Bark had to say.
What's that?
It's short and simple. He said, maybe. Sit down. Just sit down and shut the hell up. We'll take care of it ourselves.
Well, I'm certainly glad that Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema took the sides of the Republicans in the logical debate in voting this proposed bill of changing and eliminating the filibuster. I'm sure glad they had enough guts to stand up and do it. And thank you very much for y'all's
And then again,
opinions
it could
on
be reverse psychology.
It could be.
Nothing else has worked for them, so
That's the truth. That's the truth.
spread some of our lives. That'll get you
Listened
votes.
to Sleepy Joe yesterday.
Oh, God.
Everything's hunky-dory his first year in office.
It took him, what, 2-3 hours just to say that? Said it was the longest press conference a man had ever had.
It was just short of 2 hours.
Just short of 2 hours.
Yep. Must have got him an oversized teleprompter.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the January 6th investigation and the committee investigating it. You guys had some very interesting things to say about the January 6th committee and what happened back in 2020. So we're going to talk about that and a little bit more when we come back, and the Grandpa and Pappy Show continues right after this.
House for sale!
Home for sale.
Home for sale!
Home for sale. Home for sale.
We've got a home!
Available now.
House for sale.
And we are back on the Grandpa and Pappy Show. Thank you very much for sticking with us.
Yeah.
And being with us this morning. Right before the break, we talked about the January 6th, 2020 committee and the things that were going on in a peaceful protest that got a little bit out of hand, not very much. Nobody was hurt or things like that. And you'll hear some of the opinions that you guys had.
Yeah.
And talking about that very thing. But the committee investigating the January 6th incident have been on a witch hunt, absolute witch hunt, not to get to the bottom of things, but to try to discredit Donald Trump so that he doesn't run for president in 2024. If you just listen to what they're talking about, it's absolutely amazing. They have subpoenaed texts and emails from people that have voiced their concern about this committee, and it would be interesting to see if we could get their emails.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen one day.
But we asked you guys what you guys thought about it, and you came up with some good things, like Bob Baker, who told us that based on what I saw, if that had been a real insurrection, they would have had no trouble pulling it off. D.C. is using a protest that got out of hand as an excuse to tighten the screws a little and create a separation between them and the people. It's not rocket scientists to know where this goes from here. It is history repeating itself because we haven't learned a damn thing.
You know what, Bob? That's very profound. That's well said, and I agree with that. John Avery said the sham of the January 6th committee is simply doing what it can to prevent Donald Trump from running for president again.
Bingo.
And I think that's a nail on the head right there. They know if he does, he'll win in a landslide, so all they can do is lie about January 6th and blame Donald Trump. There are too many unanswered questions that have not been asked. Let's get real, people. Well said, Avery.
I can't agree with you more, John. That's just putting it right there where it belongs.
Yep.
And then Paul Edgar came to us and says, you are only going to see what China and the other communists in our country want you to see unless you're watching Newsmax or OAN.
You know, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
I don't watch any of those other networks.
Oh, man, they make me ill.
It's just like I told you, the Divine want to turn on the morning news, even Fox. I can't even stand Fox anymore, you know. I mean, they tell somewhat of the truth compared to the other networks.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I don't know. John Bossy, here we go. John Bossy said the peasants entered the palace and royalty is not happy.
Ain't it so?
James Allen agreed by saying that the Congress looks down on all Americans as dumb and stupid. Well, that's kind of, you know, stupid is as stupid does.
Stupid
I mean,
is
they
as
tell us
stupid does.
we're going to raise your taxes, and we reach deeper in our pockets. So who's to blame?
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
Charles Busey told us that personally, I think the FBI and to some degree Antifa were doing the damage
Yep.
and leading others to get the effect the Democrats wanted. Bob Baker agreed, saying, I think you're right. Now, there's one thing that really puzzles me. They have multiple videos of this one guy out there encouraging everyone to enter.
Yeah.
Go in.
Epps.
Go in.
Yep.
And correct me, K-Bird, if I'm wrong, when this first started, he was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. And then all of a sudden, he just...
His name's Epps.
I'm
His
sorry?
what?
His name is Epps.
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 Yes.
That's his last name.
Yeah, Epps.
Oh, I know.
Okay. But now they can't find him for some reason.
Well, he probably committed suicide.
Or else the FBI or the Democrats are hiding him. You know, so.
Well, they might find him with 3 bullet holes in the back of his head and call it suicide. you know?
Suicide, yeah.
Oh, Lord. Jim Krause says, I think the Democrats are making a mountain out of a molehill. A peaceful protest that may have gotten a little out of hand due to the cheaters turning a deaf ear to the people is being blown up into an insurrection. Baloney.
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 I love that.
He ain't talking fried bologna either, by God.
That's it. Cheryl Caswell Richards said anyone with a brain can see it was staged. It was Antifa.
Yeah.
Alice Harvey from Emory said it was Republicans acting like Democrats. All right, Alice.
She might be onto something.
Hey,
So you want to play this way? Okay, watch the.
I'm interested, Kate.
hold my
Kate,
beer and
put
watch
your
yours.
mic down. I'm interested to hear what your take is on it. You keep up with. I mean, she.
I hear
she
those
has-
cogwheels turning.
Oh yeah, well she watches the news a lot more than I do. What is your take on it?
Well, I think the main purpose behind all of this is, Pelosi's never going to get asked any questions. She is off limits, which is total BS.
Yeah.
But the main outcome of this, and I read something the other day that said that there will probably be an indictment on President Trump. So if he's indicted, then that's going to maybe take him out of running for president.
Well,
And that's the whole
is that
end result.
Over what? The Russian?
No, over the insurrection.
Ah.
They're looking to indict Trump
There's
for
another one they need to indict.
Yeah, so
Well,
he can't run again.
that's an opinion, but that's their whole outcome. The whole outcome is to indict him
Yeah.
and make him under investigation.
Yeah.
Instead of an impeachment, they're going to have to indict him.
Well,
So because I think the grand jury has now said that they can look into his emails concerning the insurrection.
Well,
Seems like I saw that the other day, but
Yeah.
don't quote me on that one because
well, it's the world coming to when the
Sometimes
president
I've seen your
can't
moment.
lie and get away with it, man. What the hell?
and it's
I just think they need to let all those people out of jail. If they can let all the rioters from the summer of 2020 out of jail, they ought to let those poor people out. They're not being treated very well.
no, they're not.
And I agree with that.
You're absolutely correct.
Bobby Cranston told us on YouTube that all the January 6th committee is a witch hunt.
Mm-hmm.
If this was an insurrection, how come the only shots fired was by Capitol policemen who shot an innocent woman who happened to be a military veteran? I keep hearing about 5 people dying, but if you listen to real news, you will know a policeman had a stroke, a protester had a heart attack, and an innocent woman was killed. You don't ever hear anything about that.
And you really don't.
Good point, Bobby.
You really do.
Good point. What about the other two, though?
Yeah. He didn't say. Butch Sparks said, well, they did not finish what they started, but sooner or later, I fear it's going to start right back up.
Yep.
Be more organized and hopefully get more support.
That's right. Don't let them see the crack a light through the door. Waller53 said on Twitter that the mere fact that the 2 hardest hitting Republicans were removed from the committee and replaced with Rhino Republicans tells me volumes.
That's exactly correct.
Pelosi and Schumer are only wanting to sabotage the 2024 election.
Amen.
There you go.
That's a fact. Yeah.
That is a great
I believe,
observation.
I
right
believe
there.
that wholeheartedly. Well said.
And then finally today, on this topic, Albert Summers told us the committee is securing text and emails of people they want to smear and twisting the messages to fit their agenda. Why aren't we going after Pelosi and her cronies that are more guilty than Donald Trump?
Yep.
I'm sure their emails and communiques would be much more interesting and damning. That's just my thoughts.
It's a good way to look at it. Absolutely.
Well, it really is, because after all, the president offered to give Pelosi 10,000 National Guardsmen when he knew that this peaceful protest was coming to Washington, and she turned it down,
Yep.
along with the Capitol Police.
Kind of makes you wonder what the hell she knew.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Let's take a look at some of her emails and
Yeah.
see what's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was a good segment, but we got one more that we want to share with you, and this one's kind of gets under my skin a lot. Earlier last week, video was put out by some Iran Ayatollahs about an assassination, the assassination of President Trump.
Yeah.
And it was quite disturbing. And the question then arose, why is Twitter allowing terrorists and ayatollahs to remain on Twitter, but yet ban people like President Trump, who tries to tell the truth and gets knocked off.
Well,
So we ask you guys, and as usual,
I can sum it up in 2 words.
how's that?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
He's probably
Yeah.
knee deep in that crap somewhere.
I bet he's in there somewhere. And I bet he's got his boots on too. You know, he's getting deep.
Well, yeah, he's got to practice for moving to Texas.
Well, yeah,
He
that's
won't.
true.
He won't last long.
Let's take a look at what you guys have to say. Why is Twitter allowing terrorist groups to stay on?
Yep.
John Bossy told us it just shows, without a doubt, the bias of the social media pukes.
How you really feel, John?
Well, tell it like it is, yes.
That's right. Tony Haha says, I believe Twitter may be an enemy of the USA and a supporter of terrorists. A patriot of America, they are not, in my opinion.
I'm not so sure you ain't right.
That's right. Short and sweet.
I have something to say.
Yeah.
What
got?
do you got, K-Bird?
I will tell you that Twitter did take down that video. They did.
They finally took it down, huh?
But they did leave up the Ayatollahs.
Who posted it?
Well, there was 2 different groups, I think. The Ayatollah is still on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're still allowing terrorist groups to be on Twitter, but they took that video down.
Well, they're probably helping to
And
fund
it was very disturbing.
It really
Very
was.
disturbing.
It
Because
really
they did it
was.
all robotically.
I missed it.
Yep. Paul Reese said that is a good question. They release a video showing former President Donald Trump being assassinated, yet they would not take it down. But they banned Trump for his truthful tweets to the public since he couldn't rely on the mainstream media to report the truth.
Yep.
Where is the logic in this? That's a good question.
And I find zero logic. Oh, boy.
What happened to those two words we always use?
Common sense. And our buddy Crawford Crawdaddy Young told us it's because their focus is on the world market, not just the U.S. and its conservative constituents, is my guess. John Bossy come back to ask Crawford, are you saying that the world market is pro-capitalist? They are certainly anti-American. Crawford answered by telling John, I am saying that they're all about expanding the market based on the demographics. As far as politics, they probably only care when it influences their money either way. And I think that's true. In short, they're not going to give preferential attention to a certain group if it doesn't prosper their business plan. And a side note, this spurred a real lively but respectful debate with some good points being made.
And that's true. I mean, Pappy and I have said we love to see debates back and forth, and Crawford and John had some real points and counterpoints, and were very respectful to each other, and it was kind of fun to read them all.
Kind of
As
makes
a matter of
your heart
fact, both
smile,
had some really good points.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. I read the biggest part of that debate, so there's points well made on both sides.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you guys for that. Yeah.
Marty Blackwell Briscoe said it just sucks, and Becky Holden told us she has never tweeted. Brett Barker simply said it is typical Democrat BS. They're scared to death.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Every given moment of every day.
That's exactly correct.
And to close out segment 3 on this week's show at the Grandpa and Pappy Show, Doug Reason told us on YouTube that allowing the Ayatollahs and members of terrorist groups to remain on Twitter is a slap in the face to all Americans. I agree. They spread their hate and probably coded message to their terror cells embedded in this country. This should tell America where they stand as far as freedom and safety for our country.
That's a good point right there.
And that brings something to mind to me, amigo. You know, they've had, and this was in, see, where are we, 2020? This was about
2021, 2022.
That's where we're at.
Right.
Anyway, they have terror cells, what has been identified as terror cells, where they train
Sure.
Muslims and terrorists and stuff inside the skirts of our border. So, you know, why? Why is that allowed?
Good points. Well, we had some word from you folks on our viewer comments this week. Let's take a look at some of them.
Yep.
Sean Michaels sent us an email saying, I've enjoyed listening to your show and the views of other people. It is a different kind of program that is informative and sometimes funny.
Well, look at you two.
Well, that's true.
Don't be hating.
A couple of old farts up here.
Acting like we know what we're doing. Well, looky here,
How
looky
about
here.
this?
Our buddy Big Al Baker, by God, from out in East Texas, finally hit us up on Instagram that he and the missus watched a couple of our shows 2 weeks ago and really liked our topics. Boys, some of you listeners who voice great opinions should run for office. Keep it up, boys.
And you know that's
We
a
intend to,
fact.
Al.
Some of our viewers who give us their opinions, they are very smart
Oh,
individuals.
Lord, yeah.
Paul, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Paul Mathis told us he watched one of our old shows on COVID vaccines, and perhaps we need to do an updated one. It's gotten so ridiculous that it's hard to keep up with the facts.
Ain't it so?
He is
I've
true.
got an update, Paul. I still hadn't been vaxxed.
There you go.
Nor do I intend to be. Till they can tell me that this crap they're squirting in everybody's good for you, but
Terrorist,
I'm just
racist
not-
you.
I am. I'm a bad boy. I just, I'm funny about stuff like that. If I don't know what it is and you don't know what it is, you ain't gonna put it in
That's
my
it.
body unless you tie me down and stick me, and you better run.
Yep.
Better run. To close out this week's viewer opinion comments, Annie811 said on Twitter that she just found our show while surfing YouTube. I didn't watch all of that particular show in full, but I enjoyed the opinions being expressed. I may subscribe.
Please do.
Well, I can tell you right now, Annie, you need to see show number 4.
Yeah, that'll get your
If
attention.
that don't tickle your giggle box, I don't know what does.
That's it. Hey, if you have an idea or suggestion or an opinion
Yeah.
on the Grandpa and Pappy Show, it's very simple for you to get in touch with us. Right over my shoulder there, you can send it to our email address, grandpaandpappy@gmail.com,
That's
or
right. Or you can simply hit us up on our show website page, which can be found by keying www.grandpaandpappy.com. That's grandpa and the letter N pappy.com, where you'll see a big old red button right there. Push it.
Mm-hmm.
How much does it cost to subscribe to this show?
zero.
Nada. Not even a bent slug.
So
a dirty penny, or nothing.
Annie811, go back and hit that red button, subscribe. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, we got all kind of buttons on our show page. Our show website page,
Yeah.
which will give you access to our Facebook page, Twitter, and or Instagram and YouTube, because
That's
we're
right.
YouTube driven.
That's exactly
We're
right.
every one of those links.
Excuse me.
Every one of those links.
Every
Correct
one of
me if I'm wrong.
right
You
there.
can leave an opinion, a show topic. We
That's
love getting show topics from you folks.
Or you can go to the Grandpa and Pappy Facebook group page, where 95% of the opinions that we read here are situated and located right there. So,
And they're
anyway,
all unedited. You get to see them as we see them. So.
absolutely. Well, it's been a lot of fun today. We hope you'll stay warm, reach out and hug your kids, and let them know you love them.
By God, let them know they're well loved right here at the
Guys.
Grandpa and Pappy Show, too. By God, what you got,
Final
K-Bird?
word from K-Bird.
Remind them about Tim O'Hare and what date he'll be on.
Yes, Tim O'Hare, who is a candidate, Republican candidate for Tarrant County Judge,
Yep.
will be on our show on February the 10th.
A brilliant man.
He really is. And if you have any questions for Tim, just send them in to us and we'll ask him.
And by the way, he got a personal letter from Donald Trump endorsing him.
Absolutely.
So he must be a good Republican.
Absolutely.
So, but we're pulling for you, Tim. You got my
Absolutely.
vote.
Well, until we see you again, we want everybody to take care of one another. It doesn't cost anything, Pappy, to be nice.
Plus, that's all we got.
That's all we
is
have is
one
each
another
other.
anymore. Yeah.
Until we see you again, God bless you all, and God bless our great country, the United States of America.
What do you think? Let's Bombadita and get the hell out of here,
Let's
man.
go Bombadita.
go build a fire somewhere.
Everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.